Hello. Thanks to join my session today. Um, I am Sylvain Cortés, working for a company named Alsid. I'm working as a security evangelist for this company. So basically, my role is to explain about AD security and everything related to AD attacks and how to prevent these things. As I am as well a Microsoft MVP, so if you know what a Microsoft MVP is, I'm just focusing on security in the Microsoft world and trying to provide content, information, training to the folks about these subjects. We will talk together today about a very, very important topic. As you may know, ransomware are everywhere right now, and you as a CISO, you need to do some steps. You need to achieve some tasks to prevent these things. And so we will talk about, let's say, 5 urgent steps any CISO need to take care about. And we will focus on AD security topic. So as you may know, AD itself is secure, but the thing is, it's a very important, let's say, layer inside your environment because AD is holding the key of your kingdom, and you will use AD to do different access, like access your file sharing, access to your printers, access to your applications which are on-prem, and even if you are using the cloud, usually you just synchronize what is in AD to Azure AD using Azure AD Connect, and at the end, you will use exactly the same kind of password. And even again, if you are using the cloud, usually you are in hybrid mode, which means you are still using AD. And AD is something which was, let's say, built and installed for the first time 20 years ago. And the thing is, a lot of AD implementations were done like more than 10 years ago, and during this period we didn't know about all this ransomware and all this security hole we can have in AD. And as a result, we have some good examples about some companies which were under attack, and all these examples on this slide, the attacker, and when I'm saying an attacker, it could be, let's say, a real person, or it could be a malware, like a cryptovirus, for example. The attacker was using AD for doing lateral movement or privilege escalation. So it's obvious, like, AD is really on the center, and if your AD is not safe, you will be under trouble. So, we will cover 5 different steps you need to perform to be, like, I will not say safe, but to have under control your AD security. The first step is having a real security assessment about AD, and you need to do as well an evaluation about how secure you are. And the thing is, usually when I'm talking with different people, they just don't care, or they just don't understand about AD security, which is a big mistake. I mean, again, if you are in a large company, usually the AD design was performed like 10 years ago or even more. And again, during this period, we weren't aware about all these ransomware attacks, all this Mimikat stuff. And so the thing is, if you have a look on your AD, it's not really well designed, so it's not secure. And a lot of people are using pen testing, or sometimes they are doing some audit, like, for example, an audit every month or every quarter to check about the AD security. But as AD is a moving target, it's like really non-efficient. Because when you are doing your evaluation one day, the day after, it's over. It's not possible to base your security only on one shot audit like every month or every quarter. So again, it's a huge topic, especially because of the malwares. And even if you don't have a lot of resources, or I would say even if you don't have a lot of money, you can perform some quick wins to secure your AD. So just two examples. I will not cover all the details, but just to explain why it is very important to update your knowledge and update the way you are doing your AD security assessment. It's just because, as you may know, technology is moving. And for example, if you have a look on the Pass the Hash attack, which is one of the most famous ones now, I mean, 20 years ago, nobody was aware about it. And I mean, years after years, we see new and new concepts appear. We see new ways to use this limitation of Kerberos, and we saw new tools like, for sure, the very well-known Mimikatz. And the thing is, it's why it's very difficult to have an AD secure, because you need to update all your knowledge, all your vision about what is the security for AD. So some quick wins you can implement. Again, I will not cover everything, but you can do with very, very limited resources some quick wins inside your organization. Like, for example, be sure you have a backup and restoration plan. It seems obvious, but I see a lot of companies which just never, do some exercise, do some tests to be sure they can restore their AD. That's something you need to do for sure. You can do additional tasks like you may want to reduce, dramatically the users from some specific groups like domain admins, enterprise admins. You may even want to just make the schema admins empty, because you may know if you are a schema admin, you can do a lot of very malicious actions, and you don't need to have someone inside this group. So just make it empty and just put a user inside when you need to do some, for example, schema extension. So you have the list. The last point, which is interesting, and I saw this situation from a lot of companies. 20 years ago, we were. It was an habit to put the password of the service account inside the description of the account. So if you install your AD like 20 years ago, you need to be sure that you don't keep all these things from the old age. And you need to check, for example, all your security service accounts, and to be sure they don't have any, security stuff inside the description attributes. Some advices, like, I will say you need to train, you need to update your knowledge about all this stuff, and for sure, you see. I put a Danish handball player, which is the best of the world, as I know you know. And the last thing is keep a non-digital version about some important information, like important password, some topology graph about your network, server names, IP addresses, because if you are under attack and if you put all this information in a Word document, in a Visio document, in an Excel file, you will not be able to run this stuff. So you need to have a non-digital version of what you need to get back in business. Step 2, you need to catch all the AD misconfiguration appear in real time, which means you need to have something which provide to you the ability to catch all the different changes. And it's very important because, again, it's not something which is not secure. It's not something you don't know. It's just something you think it's safe, but it's not safe. So it's like very important to be able to see all the new misconfiguration and all the new vulnerabilities inside your AD, but you can apply this on all the different systems. Because remember, you have only two ways to attack a system. You may want to use the misconfiguration of the system, or you may want to use the vulnerabilities of the system to attack it. So that's really important to be updated in real time about all the different changes from these two worlds. It's like really, really important. Here I'm not talking about an audit running every month. I'm talking about having something which provides information in real time. Because if you have a new misconfiguration or if you have a new vulnerabilities, if you have a latent malware somewhere, you will be under attack during the next 2 or 3 hours. Hours, not days, not months. So to understand why it's so important to be in real time, just have a look about a classic malware attack, which is Ryuk in this example. So you have all the classic stuff on the beginning. I will not comment this. But when you have the first piece of code which is running on your PC, and again, don't say I have an antivirus, I have an EDR, I'm safe. You are not safe for sure, and we will cover it later. And so you have now some very specific piece of code inside all these different malwares which are waiting for AD misconfiguration. And it's like a constant audit of your AD. And as soon as the malware is finding something, it will use this misconfiguration to read a spread inside your organization. So if you are waiting 1 month, for sure you will not receive the alert and you will not fix it before the malware use this new misconfiguration at your AD level. So just some examples, because again, I'm finding a lot of guys who are saying to me, okay, but we have an EDR, we have an antivirus, so, and we know the malware are coming from the workstation, so we are safe, which is not true. Like, just have a look on these 3 examples. Like, the first one is Benjamin Delpy, which is a guy who is building Mimikatz. Just tweet a picture on a Windows 10 PC, and he's running Mimikatz just beside Trend Micro is running on the same machine. He just recompile Mimikatz with changing a little piece of code, which is very easy to do. You just have to download Mimikatz from GitHub and do the things. You have a lot of blog posts, interesting information on the internet to understand how you can just bypass an EDR, which is really easy, to be honest. I just make another example, which is in the center of the picture. I just received an email with, obviously, a PDF, which was a malicious PDF. And I just made the test to check how many antivirus or EDR will be able to detect, let's say, the malicious part of the code inside the PDF. Trust me or not, only 1 on 60. So it's just because, again, the attackers, they are updating the way they are doing this PDF, the way they are doing the phishing, and at the end of the day, having an endpoint security thing is, okay, something important, but this doesn't make you 100% safe for sure. Step 3, you need to implement the Microsoft TR model for AD. I will not go in too much in the details just because just have a look on Google and you will get a lot of information about that. But basically speaking, Tier 0 is all the domain controllers. Tier 1 are the application server, like file server, printing servers, or a CRM server, or these kind of things. And tier 2 is workstation. And what is interesting inside the tier model is you will implement some GPO, for example, to avoid the fact that an administrator from, for example, tier 0 will not be able to log in on tier 1 and tier 2, because if you let this administrator from tier 0 log in on tier 1 machine or tier 2 machine, if you have something wrong on the workstation, for example, it means like a software like Mimikatz will be able to catch the information from the memory and get the password hashes. And you can use this password hashes just to authenticate and do what you want to do. So the basic, let's say, implementation of the tier model is just you need to avoid the fact that the administrator from an upper layer will be able to log in below. And again, just have a look on the Microsoft website, you will get a lot of information there. And it's really important. Step 4, you need to manage the privilege account. And so you have a lot of solutions on the market. I will not name these guys, but and they provide a PIM or PAM solution to manage privilege account. They are very good. You can use it, and it's a very good idea. But for the workstation, you have a very safe way to do it, a very simple way, and very cheap way. It's to deploy labs from Microsoft, because it's free. You can deploy it on the workstation, and you will be able to manage at least privilege from the local administrator on all the different workstations. And it's not so easy, just because of the psychology of a lot of people. Because as a CISO, it's difficult to explain to someone which is used to be local admin. You don't need to be local admin, by the way. You can do your work, you can do your job without any advanced privilege. Because advanced privilege, it's not safe. It's not safe for you, it's not safe for the company as well. And that's perhaps the biggest part of the job, just to explaining to people why it's important to reduce the very least privilege they need to work on the workstation. And as I said, you can deploy labs. I will not, again, going too much in the details, but it's free, it's simple. You can do a lot of different things with labs. You can apply some different policies. You can apply rotation of the local administrator password. And at the end of the day, you will prevent lateral movement. So if one workstation is under attack, and let's imagine a workstation is infected by a ransomware, the ransomware will not be able to go on the other workstation, because it will not be able to leverage what it will get from workstation 1 to log as an admin to workstation 2, 3, 4, 5, which is very important. Again, for sure you can use labs as well on the member servers, but usually what I see is labs is running on the workstation, and for the member servers, which are important, or for sure for the DCs, usually the companies are using a PIM-PAM solution to do that. I mean, a PIM-PAM solution like a software vendor can provide. So inside the step 4, you have another thing to perform, like you need to be updated, to be alert if someone is changing some groups members. And for sure you need to have a look on all these built-in groups from Microsoft. You need to have a look as well on all the different groups which can grant access to important data inside your organization. You can add another layer, which is to have a look on what we call the admin SD holder behavior, plus what we call the admin count attributes from the users, not from the group, and what we call the SD process. So I will not again going into the technical detail because it's a little bit complex to explain, but if you have some AD guys who know about security, just say to them, okay, do we have a process right now to take care about all these three things? Step 5. For sure, you need to integrate your AD security processes inside your SIEM. So just to remember, I mean, your SOC team is using a SIEM. They know the tools by heart. They know exactly how to use it. So if you include new security layers inside your organization, that's really important to integrate these new security layers to be able to send alerts, information, warnings to the SIEM, because the SIEM is a SOC tool. And if you put an AD security solution between your AD and the SIEM, you will be like really more efficient. Really more efficient because you will reduce dramatically all the content. It could be, let's say, 100 times less. Sometimes it's more. So you will send only what is relevant to your SIEM. And the other thing which is interesting is you will reduce your SIEM storage. So usually when you do something like that, you will get and you will save a lot of money, saving money from your SIEM usage, because you will not have to keep all these logs and events from the DCs, which are not really relevant in terms of security, because perhaps one event on 100 is relevant. So here you will, it's like adding a filter, and this filter will send only what is relevant in terms of security to your SIEM. So now we will go for a very quick presentation about what Alsid is doing. So Alsid is a French company with worldwide operation, and we are providing a solution which is able to, let's say, help you guys to have all these different steps inside your AD security plan. So what I call an AD security plan is everything you will need to implement to be safe at the AD level. So first you will need to understand right now what are your existing weaknesses. It's like, do I need to fix something which is important, because if I let this situation inside AD, ransomware can use it. It could be as well something around the groups, around Kerberos delegation, around the way you are managing your password. So you need to discover. It's like an audit, but a constant audit, like something which is related to all the different security aspects of AD. And step 2 in this security plan is to uncover all the new attack pathway. Like, let's imagine, for example, someone inside the organization install a new software, and the guy is just following the procedure, the technical procedure to install it, and perhaps he will make a mistake, like, for example, doing a bad Kerberos delegation. And this can be used immediately by the ransomware. So step 2 is to, let's say, update what you get in step 1, but in real time. Like, if something is going bad, I want to receive an alert right now, and I can send it for sure to the SIEM. Step 3 is just getting the information if you are under attack. And honestly, step 3 is interesting, but it's not the most important. I mean, step 1 and step 2 are the more important inside this security plan. Because, I mean, if you are not well designed, if you are not well configured, if you have some, let's say, security holes inside your AD, I mean, if you get a malware, it will widely spread, like during 2 hours, it will be inside all your organization. So okay, you will receive an email if you implement only step 3 saying, okay, your car just crashed into a wall. What's the purpose? I mean, you will not provide the information to make you safe. Step 1 and 2 again are the most important. But step 3 is interesting because you will know if you're under attack and you will be able to get, let's say, information if someone is trying, to catch information from the memory, if someone is trying to extract data from AD, if someone is trying to do some brute force or password spraying stuff to get some information from your password database. And step 4 is the next and final level, which is providing something to your security team. And when I'm saying something, it's mainly two things. First thing is having a tool which catching all the different changes made in AD, and second tool is to having a possibility to just do some threat hunting inside this change auditing. Like, okay, I think I had an attack like yesterday, for example, and I want a tool to be able to just do some investigation, understand what was going on inside my AD. If someone tried to do something, if someone did something, and you need a tool for that to understand what happened. And here I'm not talking about an AD change auditing tool. AD change auditing tool by himself is more a tool for AD admin. Here I'm talking about a tool for security guy, which is slightly different. The way Alsid is doing that is very simple. I mean, I will not explain everything technically speaking, but what you need to understand is we don't use any agent, so we don't have to deploy any agent on the DCs, for example. We are not using privileges, like high privileges. We don't need to be domain admin to run. So these two things are very important, because if you install something on a DC, for example, you will increase the attack surface by design. So, which is bad at the end of the day. And the last thing to remember is you can run Alsid on-prem or from the cloud. So you can decide if your security policy needs it to run the Alsid solution on-prem. And if you want to be more agile, you can use the cloud solution. So we're not going into the demonstration. And finally, I need to thank you to be there. And if you need any information about Alsid, just feel free to send me an email or just go to visit our website, alsid.com. And I hope this session was interesting for you.